Earth becomes the target of an alien invasion, characterized by a relentless onslaught of destructive waves aimed at annihilating the population. These extraterrestrial beings employ various tactics, such as strategically manipulating unsuspecting humans, exploiting them as unwitting weapons in their quest for planetary annihilation, while simultaneously draining Earth's energy and unleashing diseases and natural disasters as part of their strategy to bring about widespread devastation. If you want to stay in the loop and receive more exciting videos, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and don't forget to like the video. The opening scene depicts Cassie Sullivan, played by Chloe Grace Moretz, walking through the woods, holding a gun. As she explores, she stumbles upon an empty store and manages to collect a few essential supplies. Suddenly, she hears a voice pleading for help. Cassie discovers a man hiding in the back of the store, and both of them cautiously point their guns at each other. The man decides to lower his weapon, but Cassie remains on guard because he holds something in his hand. She demands that he reveal what he's holding, and when he complies, a sudden flash of light startles Cassie, causing her to instinctively shoot the man. To her horror, she realizes he was holding a crucifix. The story then jumps back in time to several months earlier. Cassie was an ordinary 15-year-old high school girl named Cassie, leading a normal life with her parents Oliver, played by Ron Livingston, Lisa, played by Maggie Siff, and her younger brother Sam, played by Zachary Arthur, in a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. Her closest friend was Lisbeth, played by Gabriela Lopez, and Cassie had a crush on Ben Parrish, played by Nick Robinson, a football player. However, everything changed when enigmatic alien spaceships descended and hovered above the Earth for several days. The humans would come to refer to these visitors as the Others. The Others initiated the first wave, an electromagnetic pulse that eradicated all electrical power on the planet. The resulting chaos led to countless deaths as planes crashed from the sky. Cassie and Sam were forced to seek water from a nearby lake due to the lack of a fresh water supply. In the second wave, devastating earthquakes and destructive tsunamis ravaged coastal cities, claiming even more lives. For the third wave, the Others employed genetic manipulation to modify the avian flu, infecting people like Lisbeth and even Cassie's mother, Lisa. Sadly, Cassie, Sam, and Oliver had to bury Lisa in the front yard of their house, bidding her a heartfelt farewell. The trio makes their way to a camp for survivors. After spending a few days there, a large cloud of dust appears, revealing a group of military men in vans led by Colonel Vosh, played by Liev Schreiber. He claims to be there to provide assistance and immediately takes charge. The children are gathered and sent on a bus to a safe location, but before they leave, Sam forgets his teddy bear. Cassie rushes off the bus to retrieve it, but the buses start driving away before she can make it back. Vosh informs the adults that the fourth wave has begun, indicating that the Others are now using humans as hosts. This revelation incites anger and panic among the adults, who demand to know how to identify the true Others. A gunfight ensues, resulting in the deaths of nearly all the adults, including Oliver. Cassie mourns her father's loss and decides to continue her journey alone. Meanwhile, the kids arrive at Camp Haven, which turns out to be a military training facility. Ben and Sam are among those recruited and are given new nicknames. Ben encounters Sergeant Resnick, played by Maria Bello, who injects a tracker into the back of his neck. She then places him in front of a two-way mirror where a boy is strapped to a chair. Resnick claims that the boy is an Other and shows Ben through a lens that the boy's skull appears green, indicating his true nature. Resnick hands Ben a button and pressures him to kill the boy, using the fact that Ben is wearing his deceased sister's necklace as motivation. Reluctantly, Ben presses the button, resulting in the boy's death. Carrying a gun given to her by her father, Cassie finds herself back at the abandoned convenience store from the opening scene. She is faced with the grim task of shooting and killing a wounded man, just as shown before. After the chaotic events, Cassie proceeds along an abandoned freeway filled with deserted cars and numerous lifeless bodies. Suddenly, a bullet strikes her leg. Cassie desperately crawls under a nearby vehicle, seeking shelter from the danger. Overwhelmed by blood loss, she eventually loses consciousness. Meanwhile, Ben and the other children begin their training. He forms a bond with a fellow kid named Dumbo, portrayed by Tony Revolori, and they encounter a tough girl named Ringer, played by Micah Monroe, who refuses to tolerate any nonsense. Ringer showcases exceptional marksmanship skills and proceeds to teach the children how to shoot after Ben manages to take her down during a training session. When Cassie awakens, she finds herself under the care of a young man named Evan Walker, acted by Alex Rowe. Evan tends to her gunshot wound. Despite Cassie's desire to leave and search for Sam, Evan cautions her against venturing out alone without protection, emphasizing the peril she would face. Cassie eventually realizes that Evan has taken her gun and hidden it from her. In an attempt to escape, she inadvertently triggers one of Evan's traps in the surrounding woods. Rushing back to her aid, Evan shields her from an approaching individual carrying a firearm. Meanwhile, at Camp Haven, Colonel Vosh escorts Ben to the control center and discloses that the fifth wave is already underway. Vosh provides Ben with a helmet that enables him to identify and eliminate others more easily. As time progresses, Evan instructs Cassie in self-defense techniques, demonstrating methods to disarm an opponent and render them incapacitated. Cassie shares photographs of her loved ones from before the invasion, forging a connection with Evan. Their bond deepens quickly, fueled by mutual attraction. The kids are taken to a location where others have been detected. They encounter several individuals whose skulls emit a green glow and instinctively open fire. However, when they spot Ringer through their lenses, they notice her skull also glowing green. Just as they prepare to shoot her, Ben intervenes. To his horror, he realizes that Vosh and Resnick have deceived them. The true others are Vosh and his allies. The fifth wave involves manipulating the easily influenced children, using them as pawns in a calculated plan to gradually eradicate the remaining human survivors. Upon witnessing Evan's act of killing someone in the woods, Cassie discovers that he is not entirely human. Evan explains that his transformation occurred when the alien ship arrived, triggering a profound change within him. He claims to have saved Cassie when she was shot by another assailant in the distance. Evan believes that his love for Cassie is gradually restoring his humanity. Overwhelmed by this revelation, Cassie flees from Evan and eventually gets rescued by the military. Cassie is transported to Camp Haven, where she undergoes a similar process as the other children. However, this time she quickly discerns something suspicious about Resnick. A confrontation ensues between the two, culminating in Cassie successfully incapacitating Resnick. In a climactic encounter, Ben confronts Vosh and demands the truth. Vosh confirms that he and the rest of the military personnel are, in fact, others, driven by the desire to claim Earth for themselves. The base becomes the target of an infiltration mission. Cassie crosses paths with Ben and reunites with Sam. Just before sacrificing himself to destroy the facility, Evan appears and shares one final kiss with Cassie. As the heroes escape, the site is obliterated. Cassie observes the destruction, grieving for Evan's sacrifice. However, Colonel Vosh and the infected military and child cadets manage to escape in a fleet of helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft. Subsequently, the group of children, including Dumbo and others, establishes their own camp. Cassie concludes the film with a narration emphasizing their unyielding hope, the force that keeps them alive amidst the chaos and uncertainty they face.